Welcome everyone to the first podcast of the Never Say Die, which is going to be everything all New York Islanders. I'm your host, TJ, and with me we have the grumpy old man.
That's me, and I just wanted to let everyone know that I've been an Islander fan since 1971, their initial year, and
What made you an Islanders fan?
because used to be Ranger fan from New York, used to be Ranger fan, and then the Rangers started playing like a bunch of pussies, and when the Islanders came in, they showed a little bit of heart and determination. The Rangers had a whole bunch of skill players on. They were a good team, but boy, oh boy, they just weren't tough enough. That's all I'm going to say, and that's. They would have been great in today's NHL, to be honest with you, with John Rattel and Rod Gilbert and guys like that, Brad Park. But the Islanders came in and they had a little bit of grit and determination. And so I've been a huge fan of the Islanders since their inception. And I remember everything from the glory years, everything from the terrible years since.
Oh, yes.
Up till today. So
That's kind of when I jumped on being a fan. I was younger. Of course, I'm not from that era and rooting for him. Probably the Michael Pekka days was when I started. So I definitely got to witness a large bit of their unsuccessful years. And, this time period right here has probably been the best I've ever seen the Islanders. And that is probably sad to say. I mean, it's not like the 80s back when you were rooting for them or anything like that.
It is sad to say. You've never really seen a winner, and I feel bad for you in that regard. So was Milbury?
We did happen to have two games back-to-back, one on Monday and then the next proceeding on Tuesday. We played the Montreal Canadiens and the New Jersey Devils. Before we start dissecting those games really quickly, what was your overall synopsis on how they played in general?
Overall, I don't think I've ever seen a worse defensive performance over those two games. They're horrific defensively at this point due to injuries and just honestly, I don't know what system they're playing. I really don't. They were lucky to get away with 2 points. Grice had a fantastic game. I guess we'll be getting into that, but I would say as a general overview, extremely lucky to get 2 points out of those two games.
And before you start ragging too much on the defense, you have to remember you've got so many young players. Really, it's their first full year in the NHL. I mean, that's the same case with Mayfield. That's the same case with Pelech. It's the same case with Aho. It's the same case with Pulak. You had 4 of those guys who were starting who really it's their first full season in the NHL.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to struggle.
Yeah, okay. But I'm going to tell you what, they gave up a goal to Montreal when, Cardinals sin in hockey. You're behind that. You don't, as a defenseman, you don't throw the puck up the center of the ice. You use the boards.
Robin Lehner, he is a number 1 in goals against average and save percentage with his performance then against the Chicago Blackhawks. So going into the All-Star break, has the best goals against average and save percentage so far in the league, which is great.
Yeah, quite a bargain for what they paid for him this year on a 1-year deal. Certainly, I would say probably the best signing that Lou Lamoriello made this offseason. With all the other ones.
He made a lot of great signings.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, I would give him probably maybe an A- to an A with his free agent signings this year. And the only reason you get an A- is just some of the term on the Komarov deal, which anyone who listens knows I'm not a fan of.
I know it's not something that's easy to go ahead and really for the most time use to equate a player's overall value. And that's where I think we kind of disagree there with the Anders Lee, Patrick Kane. And
we're going to get into that. We're going to get it. You're getting ready to get unless you want to do that now. If you're ready to get defeated on that point now, that's fine.
That's fine, Grumpy Old Man, yeah. So kind of give background here for all the listeners there and possibly first-time listeners to the New York Islanders Never Say Die podcast. The Grumpy Old Man and I were talking about Anders Lee, and I took the position of Anders Lee is underrated for what he brings to the Islanders organization and who he is as a hockey player in the NHL. And the Grumpy Old Man and I kind of started bouncing ideas off each other, and the question was brought up, who would you rather have on the Islanders team, Patrick Kane or Anders Lee? And there was a little bit of a disagreement, I could say. So, Grumpy Old Man, I just want to make sure I was not mischaracterizing our discussion here off the air, just to kind of give everybody, all the listeners, kind of an understanding of what we were talking about before we do debate this issue.
Yes, I feel that my stance is Patrick Kane is a better player than Anders Lee, and I would rather have him on the Islanders. If it was one or the other, I would much rather have Patrick Kane over Anders Lee. That is my stance.
Okay, well, and this is kind of what I had brought up there. I understand that Patrick Kane, probably as a skilled hockey player, better than Anders Lee. You're not going to see many people argue that. I'm not going to argue that Patrick Kane is less skilled than Anders Lee. What I will argue is for what the Islanders have this season and what they've tried to build through Lamoriello and Trotz and the mentality and mantra that the Islanders organization has, Anders Lee is the perfect fit. He is the perfect honestly, I don't think you can have a more perfect captain than Anders Lee, a hardworking fella